Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. Before the start of this NBA season, Zion Williamson spoke of his commitment to lead New Orleans Pelicans to a deep run into the playoffs. But Zion hasn't played even a minute of the 40 games completed by the Pelicans thus far this campaign. Latest reports from out of the Pelicans camp indicate the 21-year-old is way behind schedule to return to fitness and help the team achieve his and its ambitions. There are other reports which say the number one draft pick from 2019 is developing a reputation for rank immaturity, gaining lumps of weight, skipping rehab sessions, and even falling asleep in film study sessions. While he struggles to get back to fitness, the Pelicans are third from bottom in the Western Conference, winning only 14 of their 40 games. A word of caution, though, for Zion Williamson. Other youngsters like himself have frittered away their talent. Names such as Bowie and Greg Oden spring readily to mind. Joining us to discuss whether Zion Williamson can exit the taxi taking him along this path to destruction is our NBA expert, Alister Albert. Alister, welcome back to the SportsMax Zone.
Hi there, good evening, guys. Thanks for having me as usual.
Good. The tone of my introduction, Alister, will leave no one in any doubt about the seriousness of this segment and our concern for one of the biggest talents in the NBA. Based on what you have been reading and you would have been hearing and seeing, Alister, Zion Williamson, will he make it?
The road to prosperity in New Orleans will not be running through Zion or to Zion or through Zion. It's really unfortunate because, this is a guy who came in from Duke, of course, number one overall pick, lots of potential, lots of hype, signed massive endorsement deals before he even played a game in the NBA, and his skill and everything that he showed before he even played kind of justified that. And then he came on the court and he produced for the few games that he's played. But of course, the reason why we're talking here tonight is because of the lack of games he's played, only playing 85 games out of a possible 184 in his career so far. And like you say, it's all of these reports that have been coming out, and they're all alleged. We don't know how true they are. But if these whispers are true, it's really disappointing to hear about the stuffing down whole pizzas and high sugar drinks, sleeping in film classes, missing rehabilitation workouts, etc. And it definitely sounds like an immaturity issue. And if he continues along this path, I'm a bit afraid for his career, firstly, and far less, what he's going to be with the Pelicans. So, hopefully he can get it turned around and have some veterans in his ear, some retired veterans probably come out and counsel him, because it seems like he needs a lot of guidance, and probably too much hype has gone to his head and it's messing him up right now.
LeBron, I said LeBron. Alister, I mentioned two names in the build-up to the segment. I mentioned Bowie and Greg Oden. Now, Bowie is the butt of too many jokes to mention in rap lyrics, in pop culture in the USA. When he was drafted in that famous class of 1984, the NBA wasn't yet a global game. The untold riches that so many have enjoyed wasn't a reality for many of who were drafted in 84 and who were slugging it out already in the NBA at that time. When in 2007 Greg Oden was drafted, the NBA was a different beast. It was a portal, a pathway to millions for blacks, and people knew what the riches were on offer. I say that to say that the examples are there for Zion Williamson, a bright lad from all accounts, to see for himself, and for those around him and in his orbit, Alister, to be able to say to him, look at Bowie, look at Greg Oden as cautionary tales. Do not let your career go like that. And I'm struggling sitting here, Alister, to think that his handlers would have him in a situation where we're even hearing these things about him and talking about his possible demise and joining the list of high-profile, very talented flops to have graced the NBA.
The problem is the evolution of growth of human beings. I think when you get to that point of 18, 19, 20, and you start making your own money and everything, you think you're invincible. And I think that's what's happened in Zion. You know, from the moment before he even entered Duke, from 2016 to 2018, his high school career, he was hyped, he was on national TV, he was getting everything he wanted, basically. Even a couple of discussions and reports about some scandals about taking money which he wasn't supposed to. So, you know, he's just had a lot thrown at him, and he's been enjoying all of the attention and recognition. And, you know, when he came on screen, he's such a likable guy. He seems like a very humble guy, but you know, it seems like behind the scenes, maybe some of it is going into his head because, and like I mentioned earlier on, some of that invincibility complex, thinking that, you know, I'm young, I'm going to get over this, you know, I'm the star of this franchise, you know, they have to wait for me, I got to do what I'll do what I need to do on my own time. You know, it's really not, you know, to his benefit, it's really to his detriment at this moment. And it's a shame that, you know, he's come onto a team that is not laden with veterans, like really seasoned veterans who have won or have gone really far in terms of championships. And I think, you know, he just lacks that example on the team to really push him. And, you know, I think that's kind of adding on to his issue and compounding the problems for them.
You know, Alister, I'm listening to that and I'm thinking about it from Zion's perspective. A young superstar in the making, you know, dealt with his foot injury, and he feels as if he's been taken out of the game that he loves. What if it's the fact of not getting to do what he loves because of injury that's getting to him, and not the fact that he thinks, you know, he's bigger than the game or he's a superstar and whatnot? And maybe that is what has led him to this position.
Well, I think that's a really good point, Mariah. You know, in terms of bringing up that, individualistic look from his perspective, you know, he's probably a little bit depressed. You know, he's stress eating maybe and that sort of thing. Yeah. And it's probably adding to that. So, you know, I think that's a good point raised. And, you know, in this day and age where we now are very more receptive to listening to athletes about mental health and everything that they go through, you know, this is another factor that probably needs to be taken into account. And the team needs to kind of help him in that regard. It seems like they're throwing everything at him as much as they can, but maybe send him, you know, to counselors and everything. It all depends on if he kind of wants to receive that and take that on board. But, you know, it's something that he still needs to get through. Whatever it is, if it's an individualistic thing and it might be depression, he needs to do some reflection, sit down, have a look in the mirror, proverbially, and kind of really think about what steps he needs to take to kind of lose the weight, to get, you know, get the weight off of his foot and his knees, and to have a healthy and prolonged NBA career. That's what we all want for him. We want to see those highlight dunks and everything, and we could just only hope he could turn it around and help himself to help everyone else enjoy his talent.
Yeah, well, Alister, thank you so much. I know this is a discussion we'll continue to have here on the SportsMax Zone, so we'll connect with you again. Thanks.
Definitely. See you guys later.
Talk soon. Well, still to come on the SportsMax Zone, we'll link with our team at the Stadium East Field in Jamaica as we get the details from the Manning Cup semi-finals today. We'll also have updates from football in England, but next we're remembering Trinidad and Tobago 400-meter athlete Dion Lendo. President of the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee, Brian Lewis, will join us next.